Hey guys, welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur. And today we have a great guest. We're going to be talking about marketing, content creation, and building a business from the ground up. You don't want to miss this episode, so stay tuned.
Coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur, a podcast created to help entrepreneurs build their business. Branding, marketing, analytics, positioning, and lead generation, plus interviews with other business owners to learn from their successes and failures. Now, here is your host, Abel Garza.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Creative Entrepreneur. And today we have a great guest for you. He's a co-founder of The Holler Creative. He's built his team from the ground up and delivers a six-figure income. He is going to give us some insight into how he has built his business, some ways that he's built his team, and some words of wisdom. So please help me welcome Kevin Flora. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing outstanding. Thanks for asking. And, I'm so happy to have you on the show today because I love talking about marketing. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. And so what I want to do is I want to delve into how you started your business, what you're doing right now to create and generate income, and just give us some perspective on what you do, how you're doing it, and what you're doing for your customers.
So I'm one of the co-founders of a business in southeastern Kentucky called The Holler. The Holler Creative is how some people know us by. A lot of people ask, what's with the name? Why The Holler? If you're from the Appalachian Mountain region, which is where we're located, then people think that they're smart and they say it's not even the holler. You realize that, right? The word is hollow, and So the cool thing about our name and our brand is that it gives us an opportunity to tell people about our vision and our mission and our story. Man, if you're a business owner and you're not living out your mission and vision every day, then you're missing an opportunity. If you don't have an opportunity to tell your story to everyone who comes across your path, then it's to me, you got to step back and think, well, why am I doing this in the first place? And so when we were pretty intentional about our name, we spent a good long time on it, spent a good amount of money on the URL too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
When you're dead set on something and that URL costs money, you find a way to make it happen. And so the holler for us, it's a term that's negatively associated usually with a lack of education or people. They've done a whole movie. It used to be on Netflix about the blue people, and that's like from incest, right? Genetic code gets messed up, and your skin color actually turns blue. It's just not ever positively associated with anything. The Appalachian Mountain region typically isn't, except for Dolly Parton. Thank God for Dolly Parton. I really like her.
I love Dolly.
I know, who doesn't, right?
Yeah,
Dollywood,
I just love
Pigeon
Dolly.
Forge. It's just the best place on earth. But no, for us, our mission is to provide hope and opportunity back into Appalachia, and we believe that we can strongly do that in a very quick way by providing the digital marketing back end to business owners. And so a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, are so focused on their product or service and doing it at a quality that surpasses their competition that they forget about marketing. They forget about their brand. They forget about high quality logos and things that it takes to really make themselves stand out. And yes, your product and service can carry you far, but there's so much more to it. And that's where we want to step in. And that's where we have been stepping in for almost 3 years now. We've been serving businesses, and the way is either a back-end digital marketing firm for them, or we'll come alongside some bigger businesses have a marketing person or two or a sales team, but they're so busy on the phone and creating newspaper ads that they forget that there's a whole digital world that people are on. And we use the example a lot. There may be 30,000 people driving by that billboard, but man, 20,000 of them are looking at Facebook when they're driving by, and there's police tickets to show that,
Yeah. So you've been doing, digital marketing. You're helping other businesses grow their business. What got you into this business?
Well, I used to be a professor at the University of Kentucky. Go Cats. And big fan of University of Kentucky because my wife and I are going to be paying that student loan bill off. We both went to the University of Kentucky. She was a dentist in dental school and then in pediatric dentistry, and now that's what she does in our town. And while she was there, I needed a job, and so I needed to defer my loans, to be honest. And so I entered into a master's program in psychology with the take on it that I really wanted to understand what made people tick, why people bought things, what forced people to go into debt as I'm going into debt, right, for school. without giving it a second thought. And that quickly switched over to education, the field of education, but with the mindset of the business side of education. So for me, it was always intriguing as to how a university could call themselves a nonprofit yet pull in millions and millions a year. And I really want to understand that world. And it's not from a negative standpoint, but really just wanted to get into it. So the more I got into it, the more my job continued along until I became a professor at the University of Kentucky, the director of recruiting and retention at the College of Education. So I did that for a few years, was able to manage a team, some of college students, and really worked on student retention, which transfers great into customer retention, and recruitment, which transfers great into sales. And I worked with some professors on different side projects. And so one of the side projects was running some conferences, some educational conferences. And one of them was in Iowa. And I was charged with getting people to the conference. They had the content, the speakers, the venue, and they had all that, but they didn't know how to get people to the conference. So they said, Kevin, we're paying you $2 an hour. You go figure it out. And so I said, gladly, man, I'd love to figure that out. So I got on YouTube, figured out how to build websites, figured out how to market online. And that conference, within just a couple years, grew to over 1,000 people coming to Des Moines, Iowa, of all places, and became the largest in education, the term one-to-one, one piece of technology for every one student. It became the largest one-to-one conference in the world. And so from there, it moved back to my wife's small town, and it transferred greatly. Knew how to build websites, knew how to market, knew how to recruit and retain, and businesses like that.
So you guys have over 40 clients generating six-figure incomes. And so, and you're doing sales funnels and stuff like that. How are you guys making money right now?
The main way that we make money right now, so it transforms over time. And right now, we have some larger clients. Most clients pay us, between $1,000 and $3,000 a month to do their marketing for them, and that's to put up their digital ads, to deal with the phone calls from newspapers and TV and radio, and promote their business from a marketing standpoint. And then we have some larger clients that just require a whole lot more time. We work off monthly retainers. We don't do hourly billing as most service industries do. And our monthly retainers are just based on the amount of work really that we're providing for that client. And so right now, this very minute, we're chasing after the bigger guys. There's bigger sharks out there that need us. And where we're at, we're able to identify who those people are. We can see who's running Facebook ads, how much money they're putting into a Google keyword. So we do all this back-end research about a business that we want to approach beforehand, and we really make the proposal before we ever talk to them. And then we'll find somebody that knows somebody that their second cousin is the vice president, and that vice president will get us connected to the CEO, and we'll have a meeting, and we'll know exactly how to pitch them in that moment. And that way we're not wasting time, and it's working really, really effectively.
That's valuable information, man. That's amazing, because a lot of people don't know the approach. They know that they need to make the money, but the back end part of it is the interesting part, how we go about and soliciting those big sharks, so to speak, or those big fish, and getting out there. Many people might have questions of whether or not they need to do cold calling, or they hit their warm market, what the approach is. And this is valuable information, because being able to go out there and find those leads, it's paramount. I mean, it's important to get that, because that's how you get your money. That's how you generate income for your business. Have you found that there's any challenges when you're doing that? What challenges have you faced?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is within ourselves, and we saw this at the very onset, is that we're going to have to be, and you may be sitting here listening to this and think, well, they're making well over six figures and they're doing fine. So we can't chase the big sharks until we're in his seat. And that's a negative thought. That's a false thought that you're telling yourself, or that the world has put on you at this point. And it took us probably 2 years to realize that. And most of our growth is coming within this third year. Once we were able to take that negative thought and turn it into a positive action, we realized that big companies are no different than little companies, except they have a whole lot more work, right? Or they've been there a whole lot longer. Mm-hmm. I was actually just talking to somebody today. So they did a month-long internship in Russia for their company, and the biggest realization that came from that is that Russians are no different than Americans. They just speak a different language. I thought, man, that's so appropriate in so many realms, in so many industries. And so when we go and talk to a manufacturing company that's making $80 million a year, and their goal is to make over 100 million in this next year, all I see is that they have one marketing person that's overwhelmed. And the other side of that is that they have a whole lot of money that they can put into
Yeah.
marketing, and that we're the answer to get them over $100 million, right?
Hmm.
So now all of a sudden we're providing ourselves in a role as an outsourced digital marketing company that's less than the price of hiring one employee, and we're giving them a team of 20 people that can do wonders for them and easily get them over their mark. So
That's an
I
interesting
think
perspective, though, because it's kind of the I guess the same concept of, you know, when men approach a beautiful woman, or they don't approach her because they think she's too pretty, and then nobody approaches her. And so now, you're talking about companies that are multi-million-dollar companies, and you're like, oh, I can't approach them. They're too pretty,
Right.
So you giving us that perspective, understanding that you can go after the big fish, you can go after those big companies, and understand that they need the visibility just as much as the little guy. And so going out there and going after those big fish, it can be a really good opportunity to generate some significant income. What direction do you see the company going right now?
I think we're in a few different opportunity realms that we haven't been in before, because of our change in personality. And one of those, kind of going back to what we were just talking about, it's not really that we have an opportunity to quote higher prices for the same services that we've been performing for 3 years. It's that we have a mindset that what we provide is worth what we're quoting. Early on, we weren't confident in what we were providing, not because it didn't work, but because we didn't feel like we had the 30 years of experience that our competitors were selling to these same companies. But and it took one client. We went into this client's office, and they said, we spend $100,000 on a new website and a 60-second video. And I said, you got to be kidding me, because we just did that last week for 3,000. And we look at the quality, and it's comparable quality, and it's either we're undervaluing ourselves, they're overvaluing ourselves, or their selves, or something in between. And quickly the realization was that if a company is willing to pay that price, then we're really undervaluing what we're providing. And so we went back to the drawing board and thought, you know what, our sales point is showing an ROI. These other marketing companies are struggling because they'll say, I'll provide newspaper ads, I'll make billboard designs. Well, what's the return on that investment? You don't ever know. There's no way to measure how many people are watching a TV commercial and paying attention. There's different things that you can do. A Google phone number, right, to track conversions, or a landing page to track, clicks. But unless you can show a whole conversion funnel, it shouldn't be attractive to a business owner. If they're not making a data-informed decision, then they're making an uninformed decision. And so our whole business rides on providing that data that helps the business owner to make a better decision. And so for us, that's really what's going right, is providing data and analytics behind our actions. And what's going wrong, I forget your original question, be honest.
No, but
that's what's going right.
Where your career is now, but it provides some valuable insight as to some of the price points, and where people are taking their business and how they're utilizing certain services that you're doing the exact same thing for. And some people, I would say other entrepreneurs that are out there that are struggling to approach these bigger fish because they think that, oh, we need to have a production company. We need to have the highest production quality to make this video, or the best photography. Sometimes all it takes is just to get out there and do it. And the more you do it, the better you get. And eventually these bigger companies will start to notice, you get that video out there, and you're like, it's comparable to this $100,000 sale that this other company just did. And then you're like, man, I could do the same thing, or I could do better. And, at least
Right.
you have some gauge of or an understanding of what may be the standard for this company, and then have at it, go out there and do your thing. Where do you want your company to be? Like, where do you see it in the future?
When I lay down at night at like 2 a.m. and I close my eyes, I see ourselves in a barn office, kind of back in the woods, a little bit off the map, and us, my co-founder and I, This has always been our goal, to have 7 to 10 revenue streams, and the directors of each of those revenue streams being in this office with us, a little bit off the grid, but with high internet access to do our work. But that it's a relaxed company, a company that has a culture of not the high rise, building in downtown Chicago that is constantly hustle bustle. People get fired and hired every day. We want a stable company with a culture and an environment that's conducive to relationship, and that the relationship builds businesses. We want to teach people. That's something that we do day in and day out with our current clients, but we want to be a go-to resource where people are learning what digital marketing is, or whatever the platform is that, 10 years down the road that we're on. We want to teach people how to use that effectively for themselves so that they can grow themselves. Something I had a mentor once, and he said, if you're working for yourself, you'll never make it. If you're trying to help other people and work to their benefit, you'll get what you want in the end. And so our goal from the very beginning has been to help others reach their goals, because that's the only way we're ever going to reach our goal. And so I think, in the future, we're going to have those 7 to 10 revenue streams, each of them making $1 million plus. And then our parent company that oversees them all, with the directors all together, reporting to each other and growing and strengthening each other as we're teaching other people how to do what we've done.
And you guys are already doing that. You're building relationships. You're helping other entrepreneurs. Was there a change in the trajectory of your career, or a pivotal moment in your personal life or your professional life that changed the perspective or changed the direction of your career or your life?
There was a day when I was a professor at the University of Kentucky. I was wearing my director of student retention hat at this meeting. I was called into a meeting, and there was me, the dean of the whole college, of 2,000 students, the dean, the person overseeing that, and then 2 associate deans, like all these bigwigs in a meeting, and me for some reason. And the whole meeting was over a discussion of wanting to change a word in our age-old policy document that no student ever read, because this associate dean did not feel that it was appropriate for our new inclusiveness push that we're trying to do with students at the university. And this is nothing against UK, nothing against this professor or anything. This what I'm talking about is really not against anything, but in pushback to large organizations who have lost their meaning and purpose, that they forget what their task is. And so this 2.5 hour long meeting to change a word that ended up, it never got changed. And it was that 2.5 hours that I spent sitting there, not getting anything done, not building any relationships, not working on my task, what I was accountable for, and seeing all these people in the same room that were in the same spot I was, but they felt meaning in that moment, in those many moments. And I thought, man, I don't want to become like that. I don't want to lose focus. I don't want to lose my passion for my vision and my mission in life. Mm-hmm. How can I get out of this and get into a place that I'm happy to go to work, that I'm pumped and excited and speaking into other people's lives, and they're capturing that mission for their life. And it was in that meeting that I thought, I'm going to have to do my own thing. It's going to have to be, a push and a risk, to jump off that cliff and do my own thing. And that was the day I decided, to be a full-time entrepreneur. And then from there, it was just waiting on my wife to get out of dental school so that she could make money and afford me to do this.
So you were watching Charlie Brown and the teacher was speaking. I get it totally.
Yeah. I really don't remember what the meeting was about. Like what
that teacher, the teacher in the background, she's like, wah, 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 Yeah. So you're like in this meeting, and you're like, okay, you know what? We got to do something different. This is just not going to make me happy. But I understand, you people sometimes they're put into a particular situation, and then all of a sudden the light flashes, it changes their perspective. They're like, man, I got to do something else. I got to change my life. And everybody has that pivotal moment in their life. What are you doing right now on a regular basis? So some of the habits that you do on a daily basis that contribute to your success.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my faith is very important, and I know that that's not the case for everybody, but that's also something that's kept me grounded, that when I feel like I'm going to go crazy, I revert back to my faith in God is something that just means a lot to me. And so I have to start the day reading my Bible. Otherwise I won't have that foundation for how I should handle myself in a situation. Right. Mm-hmm. Listen, I can fly off the handle pretty quick some days, but that does keep me grounded. And I want to give credit to that. at night, I have a habit of going through my emails, making sure I didn't miss anything for the day, and that the schedule for tomorrow is planned out, that each team member has a task for tomorrow that they're going to work on. Because I've just been a part of a lot of conversations in a lot of businesses that they feel like the whole team is wasting the first couple hours every morning trying to figure out what their day is going to look like. And so if I can assign those tasks or put some responsibility on the entire team. So when they come in at 9 a.m., man, they're hitting the ground running. Then I can spend from 9 to 10, focusing on what they're going to do for the rest of the day. And I don't micromanage at all. There's a lot of autonomy in our business. That's what allows the buy-in into the vision and the mission, is that autonomy for our team members. But they have to have some direction. And so providing that direction is something I do at night.
And that's some great advice. Has there been any habits that you've noticed that are not conducive to your success?
Yeah, I think in my heart of hearts, I'm a people pleaser. So when I have a client that's calling and frustrated, it could be because their kid got in a fender bender and they're in a fight with their spouse, but they're calling and, I'm the dog that they're kicking because I'm the outsourced guy, that's easy to get rid of at the end of the day. And that's a position I put myself in, by the way, which I'm happy about. That I'm easily expendable for businesses because that keeps me accountable to them in terms of providing that return on investment, those analytics like we had talked about earlier. But I think because I'm a people pleaser, I'll chase after them until they're happy. And a lot of times it's not me that they're unhappy with. And it's hard to realize that when they call and they're frustrated over there weren't two spaces after that period in that Facebook post, or there were only 1,000 people that clicked through instead of the 1,100 that they thought should have on that ad. And I want the chance to explain it to them, but I come at it from a point of I'm sorry rather than these are the facts. And so I think if there's a bad habit, it's the fact that I'm just constantly not confident in myself. I'm confident in what we do and in our brand and in our team and in our strategy. But I think when it comes to, I'm too easily personal. I'm easily personally offended, and that results in some bad habits of trying to chase after that person to make them happy.
Yeah. So when we start displacing on Kevin, just know that it's going to be $200 an hour.
But I have the background in counseling psychology to really
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Okay, say $250 for the education.
247. I think everything sells better at like the 7 mark for
there
some
you
reason.
go.
There was an article about that. 247.
Was there anything that was holding you back when you first started?
Money's always going to hold everybody back, and so I know that's what whenever I listen to a podcast, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear, how did money hold you back, and how did you overcome that? Money always holds you back, but listen, if you have something on your heart and you've made sense of it in your head, you're doing yourself a disservice to not take that step. And so for us, that's one of the core things for me is to take steps of faith. If you know something to be right, but the money's not there, start taking steps toward it and let the money come to you. And man, I have example after example after example of this, and we're getting ready to start a whole nother stream of our revenue, but we don't really have the money to invest to put into it. So we start taking steps of faith because we know that we're going to do it, whether we have the money to start it up or not. Start taking this step and, just talking internally about it. And you know what happened? Super Bowl party. A friend of mine comes up and says, hey, man, I got this idea, but I don't have the time to run it, but I got a little bit of money to invest in it. And so what do you think? What do you think? Guess what? It was the same idea we've been talking about, because we took that step and have been planning and putting a business plan together, the opportunity will come, the money will come. So yeah, I think that's something that just, you got to do.
Yeah. And I get a lot of that also. And money is always at the back of people's mind because they want to start out with the best website. They want to have the office. They want to be able to hire people. And sometimes you just need to start out small and utilize the resources that you have available to you, and then move from there. I mean, a lot of people, like, for example, I always use this example because sometimes you don't have money, you don't have the experience. You use the example of YouTube, and you want to be able to get to a certain level or a certain area of your business. And you don't have to start out really fast. Like I get photographers all the time that they say they want to be a photographer. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the knowledge, and they don't have the money. I said, but you have a cell phone, right? start calling other photographers, negotiate a price that's less than they would charge a regular customer, get a customer, put them together, do that 10 times. Now you're making some money, Yeah. And not only that, but you're sourcing the market. Now you're getting a feel. You have your finger on the pulse. You understand where the market is going whenever you do that type of analysis. So when you're bringing in customers and you're utilizing other people, I guess you're utilizing less capital. And of course, time is money, but you're using your time to build that business using less money, and you're saving yourself some capital, and at the same time, you're able to put your finger on the pulse and understand where the market is going. Cause you never know, in photography, and I use photography as an example, but you can do it with anything. You know where your niche is going to be, and before you even start investing $5,000 or $10,000 in camera equipment. So there's plenty of ways to start a business. You just have to know how to utilize those resources. And so once you've done that, I think that the wheels start to move. You get creative. Even if you wanted to start a screen printing business, you could call local screen printers, negotiate a price that's less than what they would charge a regular customer, go out and find businesses that need to advertise or that need marketing apparel. And now you're going to get the difference. You're going to make that money, whatever the difference is. So you can do that without even buying $40,000 worth of screen printing equipment. And I guess that's kind of the concept of building something from nothing and utilizing the resources that you have available to you without using a lot of your own money. I mean, you can do that with affiliates and all that stuff too.
And be creative and inventive as well. Photography, if you're wanting to get into photography, find a friend or a local business that has a really nice camera and lens, and then book a photo shoot, but then rent that camera and lens from that friend or that business for the price of that photo shoot. But when you're talking to the person that you're doing the photo shoot with, say, hey, I'm going to give it to you at half the price. So instead of charging $500, I'm only going to charge you $250, but all that I ask is that you refer me to 5 of your friends, or you share my name and my business out on your social media. Well, now you have the social proof, and now you have the word of mouth, and that stuff spreads. So that the next 5 bookings that you get, that can go to the startup cost of your camera and your own equipment, right? So you can literally start your own photography business for no money. And it's easier to say it than do it, but that's part of the hustle. That's part of the entrepreneurship, mindset.
It's grinding for sure. Yeah, no doubt. What is some of the best advice that you've received over the course of your career, your business, your personal life?
For me, it's been usually whenever my insecurities come in is usually when I seek advice. And so when I'm seeking advice, I'm really looking for personal confirmation in a lot of ways. But so a lot of that advice has been know who you are and pursue that, or be confident in what you've been called to and go after it, or work hard now. This is in like every business book you'll ever read, right? Like if you work hard now, you won't have to later. And I've got young kids. I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and she's almost 2. And so that's a big motivation for me, ever since I've read that or heard that, and people say that is, man, if I work really hard right now when they're 2 and 4, then maybe when they're 10 and 8 or 12 and 10, I'll have that freedom to be with them. And maybe you have older kids, maybe there's something else. Well, now when my kids are out of the house, I'll have that freedom to be with my spouse or to travel, do what I want. And so really for me, if someone just comes into my life every day and says, work harder, that's all I need to hear. That's different for everybody. I have many friends that need a whole lot more encouragement than that to work hard. But for me, that's all it takes. And so
speaking of motivation, what motivates you? What keeps you motivated?
Student loans. So I got my student loans paid for because I worked at the university while going to school, for grad school, but my undergrad is still there. And then my wife's dental school was like $50,000 a year. And so,
Wow.
people were like, well, she's a dentist, she's making good money. Well, we're still on the same 30-year plan you are, but, we just have to pay a whole lot more money, every day or every month. And so that's a big motivator. Got to make money because we got to pay money. Kids growing up, the team, we spent 2019 building our team, and that team is going to be our lead team in 2020 through 2025. And we're excited about them. Man, I'm accountable to them. I have to provide their salaries. I have to provide a place for them that's warm and cool. And, keeping them happy is important to scaling our business. The clients that are pursuing their dreams and they're relying on us to help, all of those, man, everything about this business is motivating to me as the business owner. And it's encouraging, stressful, and exciting all at the same time.
Are you utilizing any resources right now, software? Are you doing some networking, I should say. What resources are you utilizing right now that you feel contributes to your success?
Yeah, internally we use Slack. Slack's an app that can be downloaded on your phone and on your computer. And so our whole team has Slack. So no matter who's in a business meeting in another state, or if I'm on my computer here in the office or in a private meeting somewhere else, I've got Slack. You can share documents and photos and videos. We have a vlog here on YouTube. The Holler Creative is our vlog name, and so we'll record ourselves on our phones while we're on this business trip, and we'll just send it through Slack to our video editor, and so she can have it in real time, so she can be working on it. So Slack's it's been a game changer for our business. We could not do what we do day in and day out without Slack. I'll just say that. Trello is another one. There's Basecamp and other project management systems and softwares out there, but Trello, it's cloud-based. It's very easy. We create a card for every project. And we have some virtual assistants in the Philippines. They're 12 hours ahead of us, so they work while we sleep, and we work while they sleep. And so Trello is how we keep our projects managed. So it's a great system as well.
So how can people get a hold of you, or if they want to utilize your services, how can they get a hold of you?
Yes, our website is theholler.com, TheHoller.com. And then all of our social media handles are / Holler Creative. So those are the easiest ways to get a hold of us. Obviously, if you're on our website, there's the phone number there and our address. And we're getting ready to move into a big building. It's 10,000 square feet. So I'm pretty excited about that. We've got our whole team squished in 1,500 square feet right now. So we bought a building down the street, and we've been renovating it. You can see that on our vlog. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Things are moving on up in the world.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. Kevin, Flora, it's been an amazing podcast. It was really valuable information. I would love to do like a 2-part series with you, get down and dirty with the details. I really appreciate you coming out. You're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to our followers. And I'm really happy that you came on.
Hey, well, man, thanks. This was a great pleasure and an honor to be a part of it.
There you go, guys. Kevin Flora, an amazing entrepreneur doing amazing things. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. It really helps us out. And let us know what you want to hear. And until next week, keep on keeping on.
Thank you for listening to The Creative Entrepreneur. Please click the show notes for additional information. Want to know more? Click on the subscribe button and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by visiting us at tcepodcast.net.